Yo, what's good, YouTube, battle rap fans, and my unbiased review group fam? This is your boy, TheDreadMan, and I want to give you guys my King of the Dot Battle of the Basics predictions. Y'all gonna have to excuse the voice from getting over a cold or whatever, but yeah, basically the day 2 card, which has got all the main events on it. Alright, anyway, let's start with the main event: Disaster versus A-Verb. Now, this is probably one of the most anticipated battle of the year, and it got announced like back around when Known 3 came out. Not made events 3 for Smack/URL. But yeah, just to match him up real quick, Disaster, he's normally one of the most dangerous, unpredictable battle rappers on the planet. But it's just that in 2013, he's kind of been declining all this year. I mean, this year he's been hit or miss. Normally he's pretty damn consistent, but not this year. I mean, we'll see how he does because he's aggressive. He uses a lot of multis. He uses punches. He's in their face. It's not only a war with words when you battle in Disaster. It's also a middle game too. Now A-Verb, he is a very good lyricist. He uses good angles against his opponents, and he can equally match aggression. So I think this battle's going to come down to. I think, it's going to come down to who's got the better bars for this one, bar none. I mean, well, no pun intended, but it is bars over everything, or some people say bars with everything. But yeah, this one's going to come down to who can outbar who. And like I said, normally I don't believe in you're only as good as your last battle, but in this case, I'll make an exception. So on the safe side, I'm going to say A-Verb 2-1. All right, now, Charlie Clips versus Dirtbag Dan. This battle could end up being the opposite of what people expected it to be. People expected it to be a bar versus jokes battle. I expect it to be a jokes versus jokes battle. I think this battle is gonna, because Charlie Clips, while he's known for being a bar head, for using punchlines and schemes, and Dirtbag Dan just known for just pandering to having good stage presence and telling jokes and pandering to the crowd. I think it's gonna be a show on who can grab the crowd more. And I mean, Dirtbag, he's at home, he's in Cali. But Charlie Clips, he's no stranger to the West Coast either. We'll see how he do out there. But yeah, I mean, stylistically, I have to go with Charlie Clips 2-1, maybe 3-0. But then again, we'll see. I mean, Dirtbag Dan ain't no slouch, but we'll see. Alright, low-key battle of the night: Head Ice versus Daylight. Now, Head Ice, he's pretty much the traditional textbook battle rapper. I mean, he's a pretty well-rounded dude. I mean, he's got a smooth flow, he's got good punches, he got good lyrics, and he got good stage presence. And like, I don't think nobody has, ever since the Lions Den days, I don't think any rapper he's went up against has beat him clearly yet. He's one of the very few rappers that can say he's never got bodied. Now Daylight, he has an unorthodox style. Daylight's kind of all over the place, and then again, that his Daylight style could either be his best friend or his worst enemy, if y'all guys know what I mean by that. But Daylight battles is always hard to call because you never know which Daylight is going to show up. But then again, Daylight is on the West Coast. He is at home. Man, I can't call this one, guys. This is one battle that I'm really going to have to see on camera. It might be different in the build, it might be different, we'll see. But you know what? Fuck it, this is a prediction blog. I gotta pick someone. I'm gonna say Daylight 2-1. Oh yeah, just for the record, since we didn't get to see Daylight versus Sway, but Son Madness 3, this battle is the next best thing. Alright, next battle: DNA versus Passwords. In the past, he is he's like real hard body. He's real aggressive. He's relentless. He's in your face. He uses multis, and I haven't really seen him get beat clear yet. Don't get me wrong, he has lost a couple past battles, especially in the grind time days, but like, he's one of the few rappers that haven't gotten bodied yet either. DNA, DNA is tremendous. DNA, he has his freestyle ability. He's pretty much, he can like adapt on the fly depending on who he's facing. He uses good angles, and he can punch when he wants to also. But man, past being at home and everything, like, home field advantage does make a difference, but DNA, he's good everywhere he goes. I think this is going to be a battle of aggression and who can whose presence, outshines the other one. It's going to be a bar fest too, but I think it's going to come down to whose presence outmatches the other ones. So with that in mind, I'm gonna say a debatable 2-1 for DNA. We'll see. Nestle versus Remy D. Whoo! This will probably be one of the most lyrical battles of the night. I mean, because they both have this unorthodox abstract style. This is gonna be, the South versus the Midwest. Nestle, he uses a lot of internal rhymes. Remy D, he uses a lot of internal rhymes, but the only differences between Ness and Remy D is Remy's flow is a little bit faster than Ness's. Ness has smoother flow, but he makes it, hit to where you can get it, or especially where it plays to the crowd. In this battle, I think the crowd's gonna be quiet because the crowd's gonna have to be quiet. They're gonna have to be because they don't have to in order to catch everything. This is gonna be a hard one to judge too. I think this is gonna be the most lyrical battle of the night, but I'm gonna say Remy 2-1. We'll see. All right, Thesaurus versus John the Don. Talk about a styles clash. Thesaurus, he freestyles, he uses multis. He's pretty good with the crowd also, especially since he's in Cali. John the Don, he's he's good at adapting on the fly too. I hope when John writes, he kind of crafts it to where okay, this is the guy that I'm facing. I'm gonna have to write it to where the crowd can get it, and where I can tailor make it for my opponent. He doesn't really use too many generic rhymes that'll work with anybody, which is good. He's good with the angles, but I think the Source is a little bit better with angles than he is. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and say, even though some people say the Source is the underdog, but with this, I don't really think so. So I'm gonna say the Source 2-1 over John. All right, Big K versus Illmac. This is another styles clash. Illmaculate, Illmac was in his prime maybe 3 or 4 years ago when Grind Time was on and popping. Big K came up in the past couple of years. Basically, against Half Past 7, and he had a brilliant showing against Rosenberg Raw. Even though some people say he lost that because of the choke in the 3rd round. And Big K is he is very, very talented. He's a very good lyricist, but his problem is he's very choke prone. But Illmaculate, he's at home. We'll see how this plays out. And people gonna think I'm dumb for doing this, but I think that Illmac is gonna out-rap Big K. And if his presence was, if his delivery stacks up the way he did against his battle with Bender, yeah, he could possibly win this 3-0. But I'm gonna go ahead and say Illmac 2-1 just to be on the safe side. All right, Caustic versus Cortez. Cortez, he looked good in his battle with Disaster. Both of them battled Disaster, but Cortez looked better against Disaster than Caustic did. But Caustic was facing a Disaster in his prime. Cortez, he's aggressive, he's loud, he can, pander to the crowd too. Caustic, he's a funny guy. He uses a little bit of personals, but he does it to where the crowd can relate to it, and he's disrespectful too. But is that going to be enough to carry this battle for him? I'm gonna go ahead and say Cortez 2-1. I'm just a firm believer. I just believe that, but we'll go ahead. We'll see. I got to see it on camera, but just to make sure. But on the safe side, Cortez 2-1. Alright, TheDreadMan versus Chilla Jones. TheDreadMan, he has a loud, commanding voice. He's a talented lyricist. He uses punchlines too. Chilla Jones, wordplay, schemes. He uses internal rhymes too. And he can punch also. He's gotten better with his punches over time. People just know him as just that one-dimensional schemer. You just play on words or whatever. But this battle will have you keep your attention in more ways than one. If you're not listening for Chilla's rhyme schemes, then you'll be listening for TheDreadMan's loud and commanding voice. Whew. Man, I can't call this one either because it's a real styles clash. But I would have to say that I like Chilla's style a little bit more. But TheDreadMan is no slouch. TheDreadMan, he looked very, very good against the Source. I thought he lost the first round against the Source, but I thought that he won the last two. So I'm going to go ahead and say Chilla Jones 2-1. Very, very, very close. Alright, Lada Zay versus KG the Poet. Also going to be a very, very lyrical battle. The only difference is Lada Zay, he's a little bit louder, he has a little more voice volume. KG the Poet, he has a little bit of a slower style. But he's a setup kind of rapper, while Lada Zay just gets straight to the lyrics, straight to the punchline. And you really do have to pay attention for KG's line because you will miss a couple of them. It's just the way that I think the way KG puts it together, his style works for him, but I like Lada's style a little bit more. I mean, not because I'm slow. Of course, I do get the bars or whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and say Lada's 2-1. But this is gonna be a very, very lyrical battle. All right, last battle: A-Class versus Tantrum. Now you got a guy who's witty versus a guy who's aggressive, and normally the witty guy always wins because he got a better composure and he's not just yelling and screaming. And A-Class, I mean, will his wit carry the day against Tantrum, who's just loud and aggressive? I mean, I'm not sleeping on Tantrum's bars because Tantrum got bars, but all right. But here's a key rule of battle rap: when you write, you're not only writing for your opponent, you're writing for the crowd too, just so they can understand it. But with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and say. People say, all right, I think Tantrum is the underdog and A-Class the favorite. But with that in mind, I'm gonna just go ahead and say Tantrum 2-1 in a very, very close battle. It's gonna be the battle of the Asians, so we'll see. I guess everybody will win. But anyway, that's my day 2 Battle of the Bay prediction. Of course, you got Rum Mitty versus Danny Myers on the first card, on the day 1 card next week. That's gonna probably be the best battle of the day 1. And then you got Cadillac Ron versus ZM. Cocky versus Active, and a whole bunch of other battles, but it's shaping up to be a good card. Anyway, we'll see how this show plays out. But anyway, this is they might as well just rename this card Smack URL versus Classic Ron Time, or Smack URL versus King of the Dot. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, YouTube viewers, unbiased fam. I'm out. See y'all on the next vlog. Peace.